Hello, everybody. It's gonna be a good one. So I've been wanting to do a Bleach What If for a little bit now, and I finally found a good combination that would work good for what I want to do with it. So everybody's liked my What If Deku was a Nico series and my FNAF series. And they were both freaking horror. I apparently do the best horror series. So let's get into it. We start off with a young girl being born. She has blue hair, blue eyes. Apparently she has no pupil. It's just her eyes purely blue. And she's born and she has what looks like a metal gauntlet on her hand. On her right hand. And she grows up and she acts different than most children. Most children act all sweet and nice, just curious about the world. She's just plain old curious. So she pokes things with the gauntlet and she picks things up randomly. One day, she's roughly 3.5, and she sees a snake in the yard, and she picks the snake up, and it bites her. So she rips his head off. And she just walks in and she starts bleeding. And this wasn't just any normal snake. No. It took a good hour before it started bleeding. So yeah, that snake was poisonous. So she walked in and her parents saw what looked like snake bite on her arm, and they just ignored it because they ignore her. Whenever she does anything, they just ignore her. They let her do whatever the hell she wants, because if they don't, she starts throwing a tantrum, and then there's a chance that they could get hit by the gauntlet, and they're scared of the gauntlet. They haven't been able to ever take it off her arm. It's never once come off her arm. Ever. And everything punctured by the middle finger of that gauntlet is immediately poisoned. So they stay away from her as much as possible. They go anywhere near her, and they gotta be the best parents in the world, or she starts having a tantrum, and then she could stab them with the fingers of the gauntlet. And one night, she's awoken by someone breaking into her house. And she's not completely devoid of emotions, like most people think she is. She has some emotions. The only emotion she really has is that she really ever shows is sadness. She doesn't show anger. She doesn't show fear. She doesn't show happiness. She only shows sadness by throwing tantrums every once in a while. She's not angry. She's just sad that she couldn't get this. So she's reacting violently instead of just crying. She's never cried once. She's thrown tantrums, but she's never cried. So, one day she's awoken by a noise. And then she hears 2 gunshots. 2 on both sides of her room. One in the family room and one in her parents' room. So she runs out and she sees 2 big men. And she has no fear because she doesn't feel fear. She runs out and she sees 2 big men. And on instinct, because she's 4 at this point, on instinct, it looks like she teleported behind one of the big men after one of the big men pointed a gun at her. Looked like she teleported behind one of them and stabbed them in the back of the neck. And she could feel stuff at this point because she's having a rush of adrenaline. She feels emotions. She likes this. And she just really wants to hold on to this feeling. And she knows she got it when the guy pointed a gun at her. And when she stabbed the other dude. So she goes to, well, basically teleports on instinct to the other person and stabs them. So she calms down and is sad that she doesn't feel any emotions anymore. She doesn't feel anything anymore. So she's a little sad because she liked feeling stuff. So she goes out every night now looking for people to threaten her, give her a rush of adrenaline. And she's not an adrenaline junkie. No, she wants to feel stuff. Adrenaline junkies go for the rush of the adrenaline. No, she goes to actually feel emotions so she could feel semi-normal. Because everybody says that she's not normal and she wants to be normal. So this is where it's going to get a little freaky. So every night she goes out and she's been getting noticed by heroes, and she just walks around town and she has a gauntlet on at all times. No matter what time of day it is, she has a gauntlet on. When it turns night, though, her gauntlet turns from black to silver. So when it's daytime, it looks like she has a leather or glove on at all times, but the middle finger has a spike on it. And if anybody's seen a Batman Returns, the old one, you know who Catwoman is and how she had a claw in her leather glove. That's basically what it looks like. And it changes into this silver metal gauntlet at night. And she just walks around town attacking people who attack her. And her parents are actually dead, and she just doesn't care. Because she doesn't feel sad for them as much as she did originally. Because she feels like she's avenged them. That they can live easy, that their killers are dead. So she gave them a burial in the backyard. Her father was a very lazy man who tested things. So every once in a while, he would get a delivery of a new product that he would have to test and give a rating on if the instructions were clear, what happened when he started using it. So she started doing that and sending in the reviews. And she was really good at handwriting at the time because that's pretty much all she could do if she didn't want to scare her parents. Because she felt sad every time she scared her parents. So she started writing little books, putting them online just for people to read. She wrote a diary, and she kept a diary, and is still keeping a diary. So we go to when she's 6. She's been a vigilante for 2 years, and everybody calls her the Blue Wasp. And she's known as the Blue Wasp because there's only one sting, and right where the sting is, it's completely dark blue. And it looks like a wasp has stung them. So Yeah. She's known as the Blue Wasp, and she hears this on the news because she's becoming more intelligent. The more she goes out, the more she learns, and the more she does. So she's becoming really intelligent. She's fought a few heroes, but she's also kept back from the heroes so they couldn't actually get her. And she's now having a vigilante stay at her house, a well-known vigilante, to act as her guardian. Because someone found out that her parents had passed away and that she needed a public guardian. So she met up with one of her vigilante buddies that saw her dedication to being a vigilante and was like, hey, I'll help. So they only know each other by code names, but on paper they know each other by last names and first names. So her adoptive father is Stain, by the way. And one day, and this is when she's still 6, one day, Stain walks in and sees that she's in a different form. She's not blue-haired, blue-eyed. Oh, no. She's completely different. And she has a giant hole in the middle of her chest. And he sees this and asks, who is she? And he goes, I'm the Blue Wasp. And he goes, well, that doesn't suit you anymore. And she goes, why? And she looks down. And she goes, well. And she looks at her hip that has a sword on it. And she pulls the sword and she, for some reason, knows a name. And she lifts it up into the air and says, Senpon Sakura. And drops it. And the sword disappears into the ground. You see where this is going? And millions of flower petals appear out of nowhere. And they just start flying around. And a few of them cut her, and then she sees, oh, they're sharp. Well, that's interesting. And she thinks about the gauntlet now. And the flower petals start flying to her arm and attach themselves to her arm. And he goes, okay, we need to get you checked out for that. And she goes, no need. Apparently I said one word, just that came to me in one day, and it was Bankei. And he goes, what? And she goes, I don't know. I just said the word, and I apparently turned into this. And he goes, wow. So you have a vigilante form now. And she goes, apparently. I don't know if the senbones or the flower petals are poisonous, but let's find out tonight. And he goes, sure, let's go. And they've been getting closer, like father and daughter close, not boyfriend and girlfriend close. That'd just be weird. And she's been very acceptive of his sword skill teaching. So she knows everything he could about Stain. She knows everything she could about Stain's fighting style. And she learned that she can change the poison that her stinger can release. So one day she was practicing. This is a flashback. One day she was practicing with Stain, and she thinks, oh, I wonder what sleeping poison feels like. And she just poked herself on pure instinct of wondering what it would feel like. And she fell asleep on instinct, or on an instant, because she poked herself in a vein, or in an artery, which led directly to the brain. And Stain starts freaking out, like, what happened? And an hour later, she wakes up and goes, well, apparently I can change the poisons. And he goes, okay. And she goes, oh, I may be like Midnight's quirk a little. And he goes, oh God, don't remind me of her. And she goes, well, Midnight is a very talented hero against males. And he goes, yeah, I've almost been taken down by her twice. And she goes, you almost taken down by a slut like Midnight? And he goes, hey, she's not a complete slut. And she goes, yeah, she is. And he goes, yeah, she is. So, back to present. They go out. She's in normal blue wasp form. And the hole in her gut hasn't left. And it's the same place that her stomach is. So, she's like, huh. Maybe I should change my name. And Stain's like, what do you mean, change your name? And she goes, well, I have wanted to be a hero, so I know how to do non-lethal moves, and I can basically hide myself completely. And he goes, true. What would you change your name to? And she goes, well, I have a hollow hole in my gut, and I'm already named Wasp, so Hollow Wasp? And he goes, nah, that's too corny. And she goes, what then? So if you guys want a hero version of this, or a vigilante version of this, give me a new name. If you guys want a vigilante, she stays Blue Wasp. But if you want a hero, tell me the hero name. So yeah. And she goes, how about blank? And you guys need to tell me a hero name. So we go to when she's 10. Yeah, when she's 10. We go to when she's 10. It's been 4 years since, or 5 years since Staines adopted her, and 4 years and she's mastered, no, 3.5 years since she's mastered her quirk completely, and she's currently out hunting villains. And lately she's been using her Senpon Sakura move a lot more, so she can get complete control and master over the Senbons. If you guys don't know what a Senbon is a literal needle that people throw at each other to kill each other with poisons. They're not meant to really hit anything vital. They're just meant to stick into a vein and kill with poison. That's what a Senbon is. And she's been using her Senbon Sakura, which is literally the flower petals. And she has 3 forms. Her Blue Wasp form, her Senbon Sakura form, and her Hall of Swords form. And she doesn't know what the Hall of Swords completely does, but she knows that it's a lot faster than Senbon Sakura. Senbon Sakura. Sakura. If I'm saying it completely wrong and you guys are hating me for it, well, too bad. So, everybody in the general vicinity of her feels a chill down their spine. And they just see a blue flash appear in front of them. And they start freaking out. And she goes, what are you freaking out for? I just want to play a quick game. And they freak out because they know exactly who has that voice. Because everybody's heard an audio recording of the Blue Wasp. Because she leaves an audio recording of a little tune that she's read multiple times. And she gives her opinion each time of how this song represents humanity and how it's going down the drain. I'm going to do my creepiest version of this, so if you guys would like to, you could skip like 30 seconds to 45 seconds. Ring around the rosy, pocket full of posy. Yeah, I'm not finishing that song, sorry. If you guys want me to finish singing like certain songs that I can do in creepy voices, you guys need to get me to 1,000 subs. And if this is coming out, or you guys are seeing this after like May 15th of 2021, I'm probably already at 1,000 subs. But May 15th, 2021, I'm probably doing my first live stream. BTW, by the way. Oh God, why do I always say that? BTW, by the way. I always say that. I'm doing my first live stream on May 15th. It's not going to be exactly noon at my time. It's probably going to be either a little earlier or a little later in the day. So, hopefully you guys can be there. Or it's going to be on the Q&A schedule, where the top 10 and the admins can join. Yes, the top 10 will be able to join my live streams if they want. And I can get that set up. So, hopefully you guys are going to enjoy that, because I really want to get that done. I really want to get you guys into this process of making what ifs with me. So let's get back to the story. And she starts giggling, maniac giggling, creepy giggling. And Stain has a shiver down his spine because he's like, she's toying with them again. And they start firing at her, and she just dodges the bullets barely. And she's like, oh, is that all you got? I just want to play a quick game. It's called tag. And they're like, okay, what exactly do you want? And she goes, well, if you can win the game of tag, I'll cure you. And she appears next to them and pokes them. And goes, if you guys can catch me within 10 minutes, you guys won't die. Any later, your guys are going to die. And she starts running at full speed, running. And they start to gain on her, and she starts bouncing around. She bounces from left to right. So, because one of the people that are currently following her is trying to shoot at her. And Aizawa is hearing all this ruckus, and he sees a girl with a blue head of hair and what looks like no eyes running down the street with people chasing her. And she's giggling, like crazy giggling. And he hears her counting too. And he hears 59. 5 minutes and 58. 5 minutes 56. And she's skipping a few numbers here and there because she's saying it slowly. 5 minutes and 30. And he hears her counting down. And he goes, oh God, is she the vigilante that I'm looking for? And he activates his quirk on her. And it doesn't work. And she feels her quirk slowing down, her speed slowing down, because she has to activate her quirk to increase her speed. But he can't completely cancel her quirk. And she gets pissed off. So she stops, and the other guys are about to tag her when she yells, or not yells, but says, Bunkai. And the gauntlet disappears. The poison takes effect immediately. They start withering away and crumbling to dust because it was more of a decomposing poison than an actual normal poison. And she glares at Aizawa because she knew exactly where he was, because she could feel where people are around her. And she glares at him, giving the death stare. And all of a sudden, this pink mist, what looks like mist to him, rolls around. And she says, Hall of 1,000 swords. Not her full strength. This is just 1,000 swords. Not the trillions of swords she can actually use. No. This is just Hall of 1,000 swords. And these huge, swords appear out of nowhere. And he starts freaking out, what the hell's going on? But he's just standing in the middle of the road now. And these cracks are forming on the ground around. And her name is going to be Belle. And her full name is going to be Isabella, by the way. That's her full name. And she starts giggling and she says, the bell strikes midnight. And all of a sudden he hears a loud bell chime. And he knows it's not midnight. It's 11 o'clock at this time. And he looks at his watch and he sees that it says 11:11. And she goes, oops, too early. And the swords start raising up into the middle of the sky and starts plunging straight towards him. And he's freaking out I can't move or I already get stabbed. What am I supposed to do? And the swords go through him like a pincushion. But all he feels is a few pinpricks here and there. And he immediately falls face first onto the ground. And he wakes up later and he's freaking out where am I? And she goes, you're finally awake. The asshole who ruined my fun. And Stain had to calm her down after, or he wouldn't have been able to walk into the house without her chopping his head off. So she's currently still in Bankai form. And little flower petals are on her hand and flying around her. And she just goes, and blows the petals that were on her hand away. And she walks up to Aizawa, and the few flower petals that are flying around her and around the room start cutting Aizawa into pieces. And she goes, well, death by 1,000 cuts never hurt anybody besides who died. And she starts giggling again. And he goes, wait, I'm a hero. And she goes, yes, but you spoiled my fun. And he goes, I have a riddle for you. And she goes, what's the riddle? And he goes, and I have a bet for you. I bet my freedom that you can't solve this. And if you can, I'll die here without any fuss. But if you can't, you must let me go. And only the heroes know this, because there was a message left on one of the dead bodies that she will take any bet anybody decides. And she goes, my time limit. And he goes, well, your time limit is 10 minutes, 59 seconds, and 2 milliseconds remaining. And her eyes widen, and she goes, what's the riddle? Now. And he goes, pull your lovely flower petals away from me so I can tell you without having a chance of getting cut. And she goes, fine. And she moves them all. She moves one hand and they all fly to behind her. And she's like, tell me now. And he goes, what can fly but can't fly? What is a bird but isn't a bird? And then I have another one, if you would like that one too. And she goes, the first one's easy. That's a chicken. And he goes, okay. Now here's the real riddle. I wanted to warm you up and see how smart you are. And she goes, don't you dare insult me. And he goes, I'm not. Now, here is the true riddle I want you to solve. You can touch me. You can't touch me. You can see me. You can't see me. You know I'm there, but I'm not actually there. What am I? And I'm going to end it here. You guys can get it. I'll give you points on the Discord if you guys can get it in the answer tab. You have 24 hours from when this posts to answer it. I'll put a link in the description to the Discord. So if you guys enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't already. Like it if you enjoyed it that much. And oh my god. I'm sorry about the cliffhanger, but I'm doing this again. Every like few videos, I'm going to be trying to get you guys engaged and get more people in my Discord. I'm going to tell my admins the answer to the problem once they message me asking me what the answer is, because they're probably going to give up. But if you guys can get it, you guys get points. And remember, you can buy a Yeet slip and a ship ticket. And you must read the rules of the Yeet slip and ship ticket. So, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Talk to you guys later. Bye!